All right, let's get started. So with today's agenda, we're going to discuss what goes into a profile. We're going to cover what makes a professional headshot. We're going to talk about personalizing your about section within it, the various sections. We're going to dive into various specific sections within your profile. And we're going to talk about how to identify people to add to your network. All right, LinkedIn. Let's have some, we're going to talk a little bit on a high level about what LinkedIn. It's the world's largest professional network. 830 million members in over 200 countries utilize LinkedIn. Its mission is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. It's used to build relationships, and over the years it's expanded, so now you can look for jobs and you can research companies. And the thing that a lot of people forget about, it allows others to find you. Okay, so you want to make yourself visible to hiring managers and recruiters, and LinkedIn is the #1 source that recruiters use. Okay, so when you build your LinkedIn profile, you want to make yourself visible and attractive to recruiters and hiring managers. You want to establish yourself as a professional, the professional that you want to be seen as. This is the opportunity for you to take control of your narrative. So you want to highlight your knowledge and experience, and you want to personalize it by adding your passions, and you want to focus on what's special about you. You want to make it different from your resume. So this is the opportunity. Your resume is limited to 1 to 2 max pages, right? LinkedIn, you can take the time to expand and tell the reader a little bit more about you. So there are various steps about the various components in the profile. And from start to finish, you typically start by adding a photo, then you choose a headline, you write a summary, you add your experience, and so forth. And we're going to walk through the various steps of how to build that profile. All right, so what goes into your profile? So when you pull up LinkedIn and you start building a profile, you'll see on the right here, it's circled in red, you'll see these little pencil marks, and that allows you to edit. So it'll allow you to upload a headshot. It'll allow you to create a unique headline that is just for you, and it will allow you to upload some background pictures and add various sections as you go along. So incidentally, before we begin on building, you'll see at the very bottom, there's circled, show recruiters you're open to work. You want to control that and make sure that your profile is public and say, yes, you want to show recruiters that you're open to work. Because if you don't, they may not reach out to talk to you. All right. So I want you to take a moment. We're going to talk about headshots. Now, keep in mind, LinkedIn is a professional website, right? It's for professional networking. It's not Facebook. It's not Snapchat. It's not TikTok. It's not Instagram. It's for professional purposes only. So when you see people that have headshots like this on LinkedIn, what do you think is wrong with these pictures? You can go ahead and shout out or write in the chat. Looking at these pictures.
They're not professional.
Right. Why are they not professional? What makes them? They're informal. That's right.
They're casual. There's not really a headshot. It's more like a hobby.
Right. It looks kind of like Facebook, right? You can't see their faces. Right. So you've all heard that the first impression is really very important, right? When you see this first impression, do you think that this is somebody that looks professional and competent? Probably not, right? So it sounds unfair because we are judging people by this first impression. But the truth is, when people go into LinkedIn and they see a headshot like this, you are going to be judged. They may inaccurately judge your competence or your likability or your professionalism. You don't want them to judge you incorrectly based on a casual headshot, right? The last one down below is no headshot at all, which you don't want that either, this one down here. So you want to make sure you put a headshot in there so people can see your face. Okay, so these are some examples of some fantastic professional looking headshots. So you want to make sure you smile. I know that sounds obvious, but a smile is very engaging, right? It's a very pleasant appearance. And so you want to draw people in. People connect with a smile. You'll notice that they're typically from the shoulders up. So you'll see the gentleman with the bow tie. That's known as a mid shot. So you can do that. I wouldn't go any farther out than that. I think it's best if you have like shoulders up because you can see more of the face. They're all dressed professionally. You can tell that these have been professionally taken, but you can look at the backgrounds. The backgrounds are not distracting and they're dressed up for the role, right? They are suit and tie, formalized casual work dress wear. All right, so these are some fantastic headshots. So we mentioned earlier that people judge you by your appearance. So if you have a headshot and you want to get feedback on it, you can upload it to a site called photofeeler.com. And people will judge you based on your headshot alone on competence, likability, and whether they feel you're influential. So this was my headshot a while back, and people said on a scale of 1 to 10, they felt a 7.1 that I was competent. 8.1 out of 10, they felt I was likable, and 7.4, they felt that I was influential. So that's not bad. Some of the photos, they provided constructive feedback. Nobody has written anything negative on this website because in order to use this website, you have to upload your photo. So you upload your photo, you reply and you comment on others. So it's kind of give and take. And the comments that I received, the constructive comments that I received was that they didn't like my purple hair. So they felt as a career counselor that I shouldn't have purple hair. They felt that that wasn't professional. So I respected that. I like the purple hair, but you know, it's about perceptions, right? So it's important if you're looking for work that you present yourself as professional. So you can use that. That's just a choice. You don't have to use it, but photofeeler.com, it's a cool website. Lastly, a lot of you may not know this. You can get free headshots taken through Handshake. We have Jacob Weber, who is our cinematographer and photographer. And all these pictures here are photos that he has taken. And you can schedule an appointment with him for free to get your professional headshot. So go on to Handshake, choose professional headshots, and get your photos taken today. All right. I think that's a really cool resource, and he's done a fantastic job. All right, so we're going to talk about creating the headline. So after you've uploaded your headshot, there's a headline that you can enter in. This is the role that you do. First I would start off with the role that you have, the industry, and anything that might be unique about you, any kind of unique skills. So this is where you get to establish yourself as the professional you want to be seen as. Okay, so you want to avoid terms like recent graduate because that's going to lump you in with a million different other recent graduates. You want to choose something that helps you stand out from the crowd. You want to avoid overused adjectives such as motivated, team-oriented, independent, successful. You want to try to find something that is unique about you that sets you apart. You want to choose key words that actually mean something to recruiters. So a lot of people say, well, how do you find keywords? If you plan on going into a certain area, I would say look at the various job postings that are out there, and you will see some of the same words used over and over and over again. Try to identify those and plug those in. Okay, and then you want to show your excitement. If you're just graduating, you might want to focus on your next steps and focus on the job that you want to get. Okay, so now my profile, my headline, I mention what I did, career counselor. I talk about a unique skill set that I have. It's Myers-Briggs type indicator. That's a personality assessment. And I also really enjoy teaching workshops. So I wanted to highlight that about myself. All right. So some examples are, you can say you're an economics major, aspiring financial analyst. That tells me the direction where you want to go. You want to be a financial analyst. Human resources intern, tourism and hospitality is your area of specialty. Front-end developer, then they talk about the different types of skill sets that they have, CSS, HTML, JavaScript. Social media manager, freelance photographer. Okay, so here's Ben. He used to work in our leadership and development area. He put a very descriptive headline. He's a strategic communications coordinating specialist. He loves data. So he said he's a data enthusiast. He's future thinker about the intersection of home care and healthcare. And he loves, doing analysis. So he'll say he turns spreadsheets into stories. So that's something that's very big in the data world. They like for you to take the data and tell a story with it. So he did his homework there and put that into his headline. All right. Okay, just checking the chat. Okay, so a lot of people don't realize that you can customize your URL. So when you're sharing your LinkedIn profile with people, it gives you a unique URL, and there's typically a bunch of numbers behind it. Well, you can edit that and remove the numbers and create your own URL. So if you click on the top, you'll see where it says edit public profile and URL. It'll then take you to edit your custom URL. And I changed mine to Sandra Williams. Sandra Williams is a popular name, right? So I put Sandra Williams, CCC, that's Certified Career Counselor. Okay. And incidentally, of a side note, be sure to make your profile visible to the public. And you'll see that at the very bottom, edit visibility. Make sure you make your profile visible so that everyone can find it. Okay, so this is what the default URL looks like. So it has all those leading numbers. Now, if I gave that to somebody, they're not going to remember that, right? So then I changed it and got rid of the trailing numbers and did the Sandra Williams CCC. All right. We're going to talk about the next section. This is the part where you really, really get to tell your story. So when you complete your top section, which is your headshot, your headline, and customize your URL, you then get to talk about yourself. Now, if you've created a resume, a lot of times there is a brief little paragraph, like 3 or 4 lines in your resume that says who you are as a professional. Well, the beautiful thing about LinkedIn is that you can expand on that and you could talk about your story, and you want to grab the reader's attention. So you want to personalize this and use I statements. And you might, if you are a writer, for instance, you might say, I've always been interested in using the written word since a very small child. And you could tell a story about what drives you to being a writer. You want to make sure, again, you utilize those keywords and plug those in all throughout your profile. And so when I read it, I want to know about you. I can't tell you how disappointing it is when I look at someone's resume, I then go to their LinkedIn profile and it's exactly the same. Okay, so tell a story a little bit about who you are, why you got into the field that you got into, and then where you want to go. What impact do you want to make in the world? And this is a perfect example. So this person is a somatic therapist. Now, somatic therapy is something that a lot of people may not be familiar with, and this person recognized that. When you think of therapy, you think of going to a counselor, you typically think about sitting down and talking one-on-one. But there's actually different types of therapy, and she went and explained that. She said, I'm a psychotherapist. I am committed to supporting people in feeling more alive, connected, and authentic in their relationships with themselves, others, and their communities. I believe that each of us is already whole and that there is a wealth of knowledge alive within us waiting for our awareness and appreciation. Our bodies are one way to access this inner wisdom, and this work encourages us to explore and celebrate what our bodies have to teach us about our innate capacities for healing, growth, and transformation. In addition to talk therapy, sessions can include movement, somatic coaching, and body work, meditation, art making, creative play, writing, and breath work to gently guide the authentic self to move into full expression. Together, we learn what best supports the client's unfolding process. And then she goes in and she lists her specialty: deepening your connection with yourself, finding your life path, creating healthy relationships, reclaiming life trauma, navigating professional success, and so on. All right, really well written. So after reading this, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. I get what somatic therapy is. All right. So in addition to going back to the profile, the header, and the about section, that's like the top third of your LinkedIn profile. So that's going to get a lot of notice. You can add additional sections. And so by doing that, you would click Add Profile Section, and there will be a drop down. So there's the core section, which we just talked about. Then you can add your education. You can add a position or your experience. They added a new feature about adding a break. So because of COVID and layoffs and so forth, they allow you to talk about what you've done during that break. Then they ask you to add specific skills, recommendations. We'll talk about that, and anything in addition to that. So how you add the sections is you click Add Profile Section. So we're going to talk about the experience section. So you can use your resume as part of this. So again, we talked about the resume being limited to 1 to 2 pages. Here you can expand on what's not on your resume. So this is my previous job. I have a whole load of different tasks that I did. I would never include this much on a resume. It's just too much. And when you create a resume, you want to tailor it to a specific job. So there may be jobs that don't require knowing all of this. But on a LinkedIn profile, I can add all of my experience so that when readers go through the profile, they can see all that I've done. It's really also a fantastic opportunity to add any kind of presentations that you've created, any media, any video, any graphic design. You can add that to the experience section as well. And also, again, utilize keywords. Understand what recruiters are looking for within your line of work, your intended area that you want to go, and plug those in. If you have that skill set, be sure to highlight that skill set. Well, many of you may be thinking, what if I have no experience? And a lot of you are in that place, and you're not alone. A lot of you have gone to school, you're gaining experience through your schoolwork. So here's the opportunity for you to talk about the different kinds of courses that you're taking, because you want to highlight classes that give you specific, unique skill sets. So I've included some examples here: community organizing for health, research methods in kinesiology, interpersonal communication. You might want to stay away from something like English 101, because that's one of the more basic courses and doesn't provide you with any sort of unique skill, right? So as you're going, Think about the courses that are really strengthening you with unique skill sets. The other thing you can do, if you have no work experience, you can talk about projects that you worked on. So here are some examples of things that have been done with, I believe it's chemical biology. So they're measuring rotational microviscosity of a protein probe using time-resolved linear dichromism. I have no idea what that means, but somebody in that field will. Right. And so that is a very unique skill set. So those within the industry will understand what this means. Right. At the bottom, there's a project that I took from one of my coworkers, Dan, and he was involved in a Seton Hall graduate student environmental initiative. So he talked about how he went through and made the area green, so to speak. And he talked about the waste baskets and the going through facilities and doing ecology and all of that. So he gave us a really good idea about what they did with putting our garbage bins in the area and so forth. So if you've done a project, be sure to include that. We want to add as much as we can to your LinkedIn profile. Again, it's about one, showing your personality, showing your passions. Also, it's about showing the unique skills and knowledge that you've gained during your time at SF State. All right, so there are some additional sections that you can use your resume to fill in. Your education. Of course, you want to include SF State. If you don't have to have graduated, you can say, I believe it'll give you the option to say that you're presently enrolled. If you have any kind of licensures or certificates, be sure to add those. If you're volunteering, that's a fantastic thing to add to your LinkedIn profile. Again, unique skill sets that you've gained from your courses. Recommendations. Okay, so it's great to get recommendations. So if you can get a recommendation from like at least 3 people from various levels, it might be a professor, it might be a classmate, somebody you work with a project on, and it could be, if you have work experience, it could be a manager. So what that is that you send them a request in LinkedIn to write a recommendation for you. What's a really effective way to get one back is that you can volunteer to write one for them and they will write one for you. So what I typically do, if somebody asks me to write a recommendation for them, I will say, would you like me to highlight certain areas, certain things that you've done while at your time at this place, and then I'll be sure to write that into the recommendation. A lot of times I will have them write a rough draft for me, and then I will take it and put it into my own words and then write them a recommendation. Try to get at least 3. More is better, but start with it, aiming for 3. Another section you can add is your interests. So this lets the reader know a little bit more about what you do on your off time. And also, I think it's really fantastic to add any causes that you might support. And incidentally, if you would like to have your profile reviewed, you can make an appointment with us for one-on-one career counseling. Again, you go into Handshake, you click Make an Appointment, and there will be a category called LinkedIn Review. So we're more than happy to work with you on that if you'd like for us to review that. All right, so we're going to talk about making connections. So now you got your profile built up. Now what? You want to reach out. Okay, so you think, well, why do I want to reach out to people? Well, LinkedIn can be used for lots of different reasons, and you can use it to learn about individual specific jobs or an industry. You can get answers to a company that you're researching. So if you reach out to somebody who is working at a certain company, they may be willing to chat with you about what the culture is like of that company and what have you. You can connect with someone who is in a job, who is in a company that you're targeting. And say you're targeting Google and you know of an SF alumni who is working at Google, they might be willing to forward your resume on to the hiring manager or recruiter if you've created a relationship with them. They also, this new connection that you're making on LinkedIn might be willing to introduce you to somebody who can help get you hired. It's all about networking. So back to the original intention of LinkedIn, it's a networking tool. So you want to start identifying people who you can build a mutually beneficial relationship with. So you may ask them to do you some introductions. You may ask them to forward your resume on. And likewise, they may be willing to reach out to you, and you may be willing to or able to help them down the road in the future. Okay. You want to make sure it's mutually beneficial. Okay. So how does LinkedIn work? So LinkedIn has its circle of people around you. So in the middle is you, and you can reach out to friends, colleagues, and so forth. And if they agree to be in your network, they're in your inner circle. So those are people that you know that you can connect with directly. Now, there may be people outside of your inner circle that have what that's called a second circle, which means you don't know them, but you have a person in common. So somebody in your inner circle knows them. So, hey, so-and-so, you know this person on the second circle. Can you introduce me to them? Then you have people in the third outer circle who you have absolutely no connection to whatsoever. They are a total stranger to you. Oprah Winfrey would be a third circle for me. I don't know her, and I don't know anybody else who knows her. Okay. So how do you build your network? Well, first and foremost, you reach out to people you know first. Your classmates, your coworkers, your friends, maybe even your professors. Get them into your network. Then you start building. And a good way to start building is by looking at specific roles or industries. So I use this as an example. So say you're interested in connecting with people in the fashion industry. I did a search on LinkedIn for fashion, and I narrowed it down by choosing people. Now, two people came up. There was Megan, who I have a connection with through Melvin. There's also Brittany, who I have a connection with through Aria. Brittany seemed like the one that I would want to reach out to because she's a director. She's in fashion and lifestyle and so forth. Megan, however, is doing more like fashion ads and more into advertising. So I thought, wow, I'd like to reach out to Megan. Maybe Aria would be willing to introduce us, and or I can write her a note directly. So what I did was you can click connect, and then you can choose to customize your invitation, which I suggest that you do. If you don't, it'll send a generic message just saying, hey, Brittany, I'd like to add you to my network. Well, Brittany's probably not going to accept my invite because she doesn't know who I am. So I took the time to write a note, an individualized note. Hello, Brittany, I hope you're doing well. I'd like to broaden my network of fashion professionals, and I see that you and I both know Aria. I'd love to add you to my network. I hope we can connect someday in the future. Thanks. That's all it has to be, because you're limited by the number. You're limited like by 300 characters, but it just needs to be easy breezy, casual. You don't need to go into a whole full story about you're a student and you're trying to break into this world and that world and so forth. Just keep it easy breezy. You're just trying to get her into your network at this point. If she accepts, then she will be part of your inner circle and you can message her directly. All right. So I think it's a fantastic way to identify people within certain jobs. You can search by job title, you can search by industry. It's really a fantastic way to research and make connections with those in the field. All right, next steps. You're going to start creating your LinkedIn profile, right? You're going to use your resume as a guide. And what I would like for you to do is research and find at least 3 LinkedIn profiles that you like. You like the way they wrote things. You like the way they did their headlines. Use those to pattern yourself, your own profile, and get ideas from that. And once you have it built, invite your classmates to join. All right. All right. So we're at the end of the presentation, but I want to tell you about our hours and our social media. You can find us, you can email us at csld@sfsu.edu. We're on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and or you can call us. Okay. I would totally check out these websites because we post a lot of upcoming events and so forth on our social media platforms. All righty. Do we have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
How would are employers likely to really consider you for a position if they see that you're currently in school? Should you put that you're still in school, or how should you put that on your LinkedIn?
Yeah, so you can say that you're currently attending. So that would be one thing that they might bring up in an interview. If the job is full-time, for instance, they would want to know if your schooling would compete with the hours needed on the job. So if you're looking for a part-time job, hopefully it's not during the hours of your schooling, right? So yeah, so it's not typically an issue if you have the open hours to do the job.
Great,
All
thank
right,
you.
sure. Any other questions? Should I add the section in LinkedIn profile for volunteer roles we have taken in the recent past? Yes, absolutely. Volunteer roles are not related to job profile. Yes. So even if it's not related, your volunteer options, say you worked at the food bank or something, or you worked at the SPCA working with animals, by all means add it. It shows several things about you. It shows that you're interested in supporting the community. It also shows a professionalism that you can be at a place on time and that you can work with others, but it also shows an insight into your personality. So absolutely include your volunteer work, whether or not it's related. All right, any other questions?
Yes, I
Uh-huh.
want to ask about LinkedIn project function. So I saw someone who post their projects
Mhm.
on the LinkedIn file, but
Uh-huh.
I don't know where to post. Yeah, there's any like button that we click in to post our projects, medias, just like PDF file and pictures and yeah, something like that.
So to add your projects, there's several places. So there is at the top, it'll say add profile section, and then you can expand on the different headings. So sometimes it'll say additional sections and you have to expand on that, and I'll say courses, projects, and so forth. So you can add it at that place. I believe you can also add like presentations and so forth. I believe you can add that in your about section. Okay, so you should be able to expand on the section. It'll show a listing of the different sections when you choose to add a section to your profile. All right.
Yes, but I saw them have one specific space on the profile that attack media products, for example, PDF and image.
Yes. Yeah, you should be able to add those. You can upload those to your profile. I absolutely encourage you to do that.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what area in the section that I need to click in. Yeah.
So I would suggest that I believe in when you're writing the about section, it might give you the opportunity to upload it there. There are also, I'm trying to find my LinkedIn profile here. There's an area for projects. So when you go to the project section, you should have the ability to upload PDFs and so forth in the projects section. Okay. If you can't find the appropriate area, feel free to reach out to me and I will show you how to do that. All right.
Yes, thank you.
Uh-huh.
I have a question.
Yes.
Once we create this LinkedIn profile, do we need to have a place for the hyperlink in the resume?
Yes, so you absolutely want to include that. So when you customize your LinkedIn profile, include that URL in your resume. Absolutely. Good question.
So is there a particular location for it to be on the resume? Because
Yeah. So you have your name, and you usually put like your city, state, zip code. Then you
Yeah.
put your email, and then you would put your LinkedIn profile, and it should be like underneath your name at the top.
Oh, okay. So it should be a hyperlink, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So when we print it out, it's also there. So we don't change it for.
Correct. Yeah, I
Okay.
would suggest that you write out the whole URL because not everybody is going to be looking at an electronic version of your resume. So if they have a paper version of your resume, at least they could write out the URL if they want to check it out.
Okay.
Yeah, good question.
The next one was when we apply say for a job, sometimes there's an option like apply upload a resume,
Uh-huh.
or you can do it through LinkedIn.
Right.
Like you can just I guess sign in through their website, sign into your LinkedIn, and that's how you apply. I've never done it, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
is there a particular method which is better? Because I think I would go by the upload a resume and say a cover letter and then go.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And that's a fairly new development that they've launched within the past 3 to 5 years. I would say I personally like to control what the employer sees, and therefore I upload a resume. I do it for two reasons. One is that I can control what they see. Secondly, my resume is tailored to that specific job. I've included certain keywords
Yes.
to the resume for that job. Good question. Very good
Makes sense.
question. Yep.
And another last question.
Sure.
So you mentioned that there has to be that under the in the LinkedIn there's a profile section where we describe ourselves.
Yeah.
Which is a very good example for a physiotherapist or
Uh-huh.
So, how is it different than the content of a cover letter?
A cover letter is a one-page document. It's an entirely different format. So the cover letter, you first start off with your first paragraph stating who you are, the role that you're applying to, and you want to talk about why you love that company. You love that company.
Yeah.
In the second paragraph of the cover letter, you want to talk about your skill sets and what qualifies you for that job. And in the third paragraph of the cover letter, you want to close it and say, let's connect. So why you love them, first paragraph, why they should love you, second paragraph, and let's connect in the last paragraph. So it's entirely different thing in that it's a different format, and it's not as personal, although it is adding more personality. They're similar, but they're just a different format.
So I'm saying the middle paragraph is pretty much similar to what we add in would be similar to what we add in the LinkedIn profile, more on when you say
Somewhat. It's much more condensed. It's much more condensed. You're talking about why you qualify for that role, and you're tailoring it for that role.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Hi, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So if we were to add like a GitHub link to our GitHub profile, where would that go?
So that would be up in your, so are you talking about within your LinkedIn profile?
Yes.
Yes, so I would put that in the about section or somewhere where it can be easily seen.
Okay. All right. Thank
Because
you.
yeah, you might even add it in the project section. You can put it multiple places, but you want people to be able to identify your skill set, right? So they're going to look for it in your resume. You should have that link as well, the GitHub link. So good
Okay.
question.
All right. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I have another one.
Sure.
So whatever LinkedIn activity we have, does it affect the way a LinkedIn recruiter looks at it? Say we like a post, and if we don't even have any activity.
So you mean like when you're reading the feed and you're going through other people's
Yeah, and then you say like a
give the
post or
thumbs
share a
up
post.
or so LinkedIn does show your activity. Honestly, I think that a recruiter, being the nature of their job, they're probably not going to go that deep into, they're going to read your profile. But I really don't think that they're going to put that much. It's just a lot. It's a lot for one recruiter to do, to look at all the different thumbs up that you've given, right? So I would say, keep it positive, of course,
Yeah. I mean, I think I've heard, I mean, it was probably a long time back that I heard, how they even look at your Facebook profiles and, how what you're, not like your whole activity of what you're doing, but, is it a crazy profile or?
Yeah, well, you want to make sure, because this is a day and age of social media, and you want to make sure, if you can, make sure that your social media profiles are private so that they're not open to the public. So you don't want people looking at your Facebook activity. So you want to be really, really mindful of your social presence, right? And you want to make sure it's always positive. So you never want to put anything negative in any regard, whether it's public or private in social media. Okay, so just be mindful of that, because if they can see it, they may look into some things that you may not want them. I mean, I've had people say, yeah, I've had people go onto my Facebook account and there's a woman holding a glass of wine and they didn't like the way that looked, So social media is a tricky thing. I would say keep your profiles private and just protect yourself. Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I had one more question.
Sure.
So when making the resume, should we use the LinkedIn like build resume like button, or should we like individually create it?
You should create a resume according to the resume templates that we have. So a LinkedIn, the way LinkedIn is structured is not a traditional resume structure, right? So resume is going to be a condensed version. LinkedIn is way too long. We also have a career tool that we're going to be launching soon called VMock that will help you construct a resume. So if you go to our CSLD website and go to resources, there's a section called Resume Help.
Okay.
And you can find information about that. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh. Any other questions? Okay.
One more.
Sure, it's all right.
I just noticed that on my LinkedIn profile, there's like I guess there's a profile photo and there's a cover photo option.
There's a profile. Yeah, the profile is like your face, right?
And
then the other one is, I believe, the background. So for me, I have the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. So
do we have to have something, or
you don't, but I think it's nice to make it look pretty, make it look professional.
Okay. So it can be anything, right? It could be probably just
yeah, just make sure it's something professional.
Okay. All right.
Not too casual.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, great questions. I'm glad you are so interested in LinkedIn. You're all going to start building those profiles, right? You're all nodding. Yes. Okay. All right. So again, if you'd like for me or Joseph to review, Joseph Adams is our other career counselor. If you'd like for us to review your LinkedIn profile, please feel free to schedule some time with us on Handshake and we'll review that profile for you. All right. If we don't have any further questions, I'm going to call it a day, and it was wonderful chatting with you. And please be sure to attend our future CareerEdge workshops. All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.